if this was the end of my life. I truly didn't know if there was anything beyond. I know what I had been told, but no one knows the answers to those things. I began to think about myself as a little boy again. I could see everything that happened to me from the time I was a little person all the way through finding someone that I loved as a wife. I had 3 children. I thought, I have lived a really good life, and I'm grateful. I started to feel less and less pain. I felt as if someone was drawing a blanket all the way up to my chest, and I was becoming warm. I took as much air in as I could. My eyes closed. I was unconscious.
This episode is supported by the International Association for Near-Death Studies. IANDS is the leading research organization on near-death experiences and related phenomena. Join the IANDS community for their annual Labor Day conference. Visit IANDS.org to learn more.
My name is Mecham. I was born in Salt Lake City, Utah. I had a terrific childhood. My parents were kind and loving people. They cared about each other. They cared about their 2 children, my sister and myself. They made us work. I was the snowplow boy for the whole neighborhood. We were busy, and we learned a good work ethic. Things got tight in Utah. So my father was forced to look for work in Southern California. I had been working in a gas station, and the owner of that gas station was looking for someone to buy the station and take it over. My father and mother got together and bought the business. I had athletics that I participated in high school, and as soon as I was done at 6 o'clock, I would go to the gas station. I wouldn't be done and close the station until 10 o'clock at night. It was a fun place to work. I learned all about cars. I rebuilt engines. Eventually, because of my automotive background, I was very interested in automotive parts and accessories, which was a big business at the time. My first job was national sales manager for an organization that made accessories for Pep Boys, Walmart, Sears. Eventually, I became the vice president of operations of an organization that was manufacturing parts for trucks and cars. I had to move to different places around the country. One such move took me into the Rocky Mountain states. I was living on one side of the mountain, working on the other side of the mountain. And one night I had stayed really late. It was in March. I was driving over the top of the mountain. Ice had started to form from the melt on the roadway. As I drove my car over a little rise, I saw in my headlights a deer. So I quickly turned the wheels to the left to go around the deer, and as soon as I was past, I turned the wheel back again, and the car did not respond. I hit a semi-truck. The truck hit right behind the driver's side front wheel. It cut the vehicle from that point straight through to the right rear taillight of my car. Everything on the left side of the vehicle was gone. There were over 300 breaks in my rib cage. My right knee hit the dashboard and drove the femoral head through my hip. So I was a mess. I was laying on the floor of the automobile. I had no idea what had happened. I reached up and tried to move, pull myself back up onto what I could barely see now, the seat of the vehicle. I found that I really couldn't move. My whole left side of my body was not functional. As I was trying to move, I realized that something was wrong with my spine as well. And I felt everything from mid-thoracic go, everything below it just went numb. And I remember thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to be a paraplegic. There were people around. They talked to me. They had sent somebody to a local farmhouse to make a telephone call. But it's at least 35 minutes from a small hospital. So we don't know how long it will be to send an ambulance up to where we are. It's incredibly cold. I'm beginning to shiver. I felt very alone. I continued to get weaker and weaker. Unbeknownst to me, my spleen was ruptured severely. I was bleeding out. The pain starts to come, and I'm in agony. My breathing was labored. It was very difficult to get enough air in my lungs. I felt that this could be my life's end. If this was the end of my life, I truly didn't know if there was anything beyond. I know what I had been told, but no one knows the answers to those things. I began to think about myself as a little boy again. I could see everything that happened to me from the time I was a little person all the way through finding someone that I loved as a wife. I had 3 children. I thought, I have lived a really good life, and I'm grateful. I started to feel less and less pain. I felt as if someone was drawing a blanket all the way up to my chest, and I was becoming warm. I took as much air in as I could. My eyes closed. I was unconscious. I woke up. I was laying someplace that I really couldn't comprehend. It didn't feel like anything I had ever felt before. It was almost as if there was a tight fog that held to the ground. I pushed myself up. I looked around. It was as if it was a night sky. Only as I looked up at it, I could see the Milky Way galaxy, billions of stars. It was an incredibly beautiful sight. The firmament that I was standing on went off into infinity, and as I looked out, I saw a group of ethereal beings. They were bright, they were shining, a really white, bright light. And this group called to me. I didn't hear a voice. The idea simply appeared in my mind. And as soon as I accepted that idea, I began to move rather quickly in the direction of those beings. When I reached them, they circled around me, and I felt this overwhelming love, acceptance. I felt the love that binds all things. that heals all things. Love is the greatest power in the universe. That's how the creation was made, through love. Everything that I had heard before about being judged wasn't a part of what I was experiencing in any way. I was made to feel that I had done something special. And these beings held me and sent energy and love into me. And I felt this incredible love that was everywhere around me and through me and in me. This was my true home. The most interesting thing was that everything that I had been worried about moments before, all of the things that I was doing at work, making another move and buying another home and selling the old one, all of the details that every human being goes through, all of a sudden, they were meaningless. And I had the feeling that whatever was next, everything would be okay. It would be just fine. Amazing feeling to be relieved of all of the problems, all of the headaches of living in a three-dimensional existence. And I thought, it's really easy to die. And the hard part is living. I had the idea that I could stay or I could choose to go back. But it was my choice to make. And I was in a quandary. I didn't know what to do. I found myself thinking about my 3 little children and my wife. How I would really like to see them grow up and see how their lives turned out. And when I thought that thought, I was rocketed back to my body. My body was laying in that automobile, and it was freezing. I was trying to squeeze my spirit back into this broken body, and as I did, all of that agony of pain came back, and I found myself screaming. When I opened my eyes, I saw that the first responders were there, and they were using the jaws of life to tear off the door on the right side and tear back the roof that was over my head so that they could drop board in and strap me to it so they could lift me out. And every movement was excruciating. 4 of them lifted me out. They carried me immediately to an ambulance that was waiting. The little hospital that was down at the bottom of the mountain, they have lots of accidents that take place in this area. They had decided they would step up their medical care, that they were going to put together a trauma team. The night of my accident, they had their very first trauma team meeting. So all the doctors were there. And they heard that there'd been an accident and they were bringing a patient down, and all of them were there to receive me. I was rushed away into the operating room. I was told by the doctors that I had a 3% chance of making it through the night. All those doctors came back and they all worked on me. They worked for many, many hours to save my life. They were amazing surgeons. They did everything they could to make sure that I made it. So I was very grateful for them. After my near-death experience, my life changed. It was altered completely. My wife and children wondered who was living with them because I just started doing things differently. I didn't act like I used to act. I started to work on myself, became a vegetarian. I changed the way I did everything. It wasn't until many, many years later, when I was going back to school, we played a movie about near-death experiences. I just realized that what happened to me has a name. I began to study other religions. I was driven to find out everything that I could about what everyone was thinking about the afterlife. I studied Islam, I studied Sufism, I studied everything I could get my hands on. We had moved to Colorado by then, and Colorado has an incredible Buddhist following. They have a big stupa up on the mountain. They have a university in Boulder called Naropa. It became very easy for me to begin to learn to meditate and attend classes and study with the Rinpoches and the priests. I saw that we're not just separate things. The dualism of my one religion doesn't exist. That we're a molecule of God. We're a part of this creation. And everyone, no matter who we are, we're all one. We're all the same. And I realized that God is in everything, everywhere. The two of us sitting here today, we're part of this creation. And there's no separation between it. When you begin to think like that, how you treat each other changes. You accept people, whether they're working in the dark or the light, it doesn't matter. It's all part of the creation. And you don't find God over there or someplace else. You find God inside yourself. There's no need to run around the world and try to find God. And you're going to do that, and then you're going to come home and realize that God has been in you all along. And when I slipped away that night, I realized we never really die. There is a place that is filled with love, abundance. I learned that this is an incredible opportunity to live here. Life has great meaning, and we learn big lessons here. We struggle to make a living, and we struggle to educate ourselves. We struggle to get along with each other. It takes the struggles so that we can see the good. It takes the darkness so we can identify the light. We need this experience to show us where we came from and how wonderful it is. Embrace this opportunity and get the most out of it we possibly can.